A growl ripped through the warehouse darkness. Not a warning. A promise. 90 pounds of fury exploded through the door, teeth flashing, eyes locked on the man pressing a gun to Reagan Cole's skull. 6 armed men spun toward the sound. Too late. Titan hit the first guard like a missile. Bones cracked. Screams erupted. Reagan's blood dripped onto concrete. Her hands bound. Her ribs shattered. 20 years old, and this warehouse was supposed to be her grave. They'd cornered her. They'd made one mistake. 7,000 miles away, she'd trained a dog to find her anywhere on Earth. He had. And now hell was coming for them all. This is their story. Before we begin, subscribe to our channel and follow this story to the very end. Comment below with the city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. The phone call came at 3:47 a.m. Reagan Cole sat up in her bunk before the second ring heart already pounding. 5 years in military housing had trained her body to wake at any sound. She grabbed the phone, saw the caller ID, unknown. Hello, static, then breathing. Then a voice she'd know anywhere, Master Chief Wade Harrington, her mother's oldest friend. Reagan, don't talk, just listen. She didn't talk. Someone accessed your mother's classified files tonight. Wasn't you. Wasn't me. Someone with high-level clearance. They're looking for something she hid. Reagan's hand tightened on the phone. What did she hide? That's what I need you to find out. Your mother trusted you with something before she died. A location, a code, something. Think Reagan. What did she give you that didn't make sense? Reagan closed her eyes. Her mother's last night home. The hug that lasted too long. The words whispered in her ear. If anything happens to me, remember where Titan was born. That's where the truth lives. I think I know, Reagan said. Don't tell me. Don't tell anyone. Find it. And Reagan, Harrington's voice dropped. Watch your back. The people who killed your mother are still inside. They never left. The line went dead. Reagan sat in the darkness alone in her small room at Camp Pendleton's K-9 training facility. 20 years old. Youngest certified SEAL K-9 trainer in program history. Orphan. Daughter of a hero who died a traitor's death, officially killed by enemy fire in Yemen. Unofficially silenced for knowing too much. She had one choice to make. Go back to sleep. Forget the call. Live a safe, quiet life, training dogs for other people's wars. Or start digging. Reagan threw off her blanket and reached for her boots in Chansuan. Titan was born in a farmhouse outside Bakersfield, California. Reagan knew because she'd been there. She was 53 months after her mother's death, when Master Chief Harrington had driven her to meet the litter. Pick one, he'd said. Your mother wanted you to have a partner. Reagan had walked into that barn, and 7 puppies had rushed toward her, all energy and chaos and needle teeth. But one puppy sat apart, watching, studying her with eyes too intelligent for his age. She'd knelt down. He'd walked over, pressed his head against her palm. Chosen her as much as she'd chosen him. Titan. She'd trained him for 3 years. Every technique her mother had taught her. Every method she'd invented herself. By the time he was certified, he was the most exceptional military working dog anyone had seen in a decade. 6 months ago, SEAL Team 7 had requested him specifically. Handler Petty Officer Marcus Drake. Mission classified. Location, Syria. Reagan hadn't seen Titan since, but she watched the deployment footage every night, studied his movements, read his body language through the grainy video. He was distracted, looking toward cameras. ears turning toward sounds that weren't there, searching for her. The bond hadn't broken. 7,000 miles meant nothing to a dog's heart. At 0500, Reagan arrived at the old farmhouse outside Bakersfield. The property had been abandoned for years. Weeds choked the driveway. Windows were boarded. But Reagan knew this place like she knew her own heartbeat. She circled to the barn. The door hung loose on rusted hinges. Inside, dust motes danced in the thin morning light. "Where would you hide something, Mom?" Reagan whispered. Her mother had been methodical, precise. Everything in its place. If she'd hidden something here, it would be, Reagan stopped. The 7th stall, where Titan had been born. She dropped to her knees, ran her hands along the wooden floor, felt a loose board, pried it up with her knife. A metal box. Inside a USB drive, 3 photographs and a handwritten letter. Reagan's hands trembled as she unfolded the paper. "Reagan, if you're reading this, I'm dead. I'm sorry. I wanted to tell you everything, but I couldn't put you in danger. Now the danger has found you anyway." The USB drive contains evidence of Operation Cerberus, a black program that has sold military canines to enemy forces for 15 years. Thousands of dogs, billions of dollars, protection from the highest levels of the Pentagon. I discovered it by accident. I tried to report it through proper channels. That was my mistake. The man running Cerberus is Lieutenant Commander Victor Rains. He controls canine procurement. He falsifies death records for dogs, then sells them on the black market. Cartels, warlords, private militias, dogs worth $100,000 each. But Rains doesn't work alone. Someone with stars on their collar protects him. I don't know who. The photographs show 3 dogs listed as killed in action, who are still alive working for a Mexican cartel. Take this evidence to NCIS. Trust no one in the Navy chain of command. The rot goes too deep. I love you. I've always loved you. Be brave, be smart, be the warrior I raised you to be. And Reagan, never forget, Titan will always find you. That's the power of the bond. That's why dogs are better than people. They never betray. Mom Reagan read the letter 3 times. Tears streamed down her face. Her mother had known she was going to die, had hidden this evidence for Reagan to find. 5 years. 5 years of grief and questions and official lies. Now she had answers. And those answers would get her killed. "You found it." Reagan spun hand going to her sidearm. Master Chief Harrington stood in the barn doorway. 62 years old, built like a tank-gray beard, hiding scars from 3 decades of war. "How did you know I'd be here?" "Because I knew your mother. She'd have hidden it somewhere meaningful, somewhere connected to you and Titan." He stepped closer. "What does it say?" Reagan handed him the letter. Harrington read it. His jaw tightened. Something flickered in his eyes. Pain, rage, guilt. "I should have protected her better," he said quietly. "You didn't know." "I suspected. I should have acted on suspicion. Instead, I waited for proof, and proof came too late." He handed back the letter. "What are you going to do?" Reagan looked at the USB drive in her palm. Small, innocent-looking. Enough to destroy careers, end lives, shake the foundations of military integrity. "I'm going to finish what she started." Harrington nodded slowly. "I was afraid you'd say that. You can't stop me." "I'm not trying to stop you." He reached into his jacket, pulled out a worn leather journal. "Your mother kept this. Detailed notes on Cerberus. Names, dates, shipments. She was building a case. I've kept it safe for 5 years, waiting for the right moment." Reagan took the journal, Why now? Because someone accessed her files last night. That means they're getting nervous. They know something is coming. They're cleaning house. Harrington's voice hardened. If we don't move now, they'll bury everything. Including you. Reagan spent the next 3 hours reading her mother's journal. The scope of Cerberus was staggering. Since 2008, over 400 military working dogs had been diverted from the program. Official records showed them killed in action, retired, or euthanized due to injury. In reality, they'd been sold. The buyers' Colombian cartels using them for drug enforcement. Middle Eastern warlords using them as status symbols. Private military contractors using them for operations the U.S. government couldn't officially sanction. Each dog sold for between $80,000 and $150,000. The money funneled through shell companies offshore accounts cryptocurrency. Total estimated profit $52 million, and at the center of it all, Lieutenant Commander Victor Rains. Reagan knew Rains. Everyone in the K-9 program knew him. Late 40s, charming, ambitious. He'd built his career on procurement, managing the acquisition, training, and deployment of every military working dog in the Pacific Fleet. He visited the training facility monthly, always smiling, always praising the handlers, always asking about the dogs. Reagan had never liked him. Something behind his eyes felt wrong, calculated, like he was always measuring people, weighing their usefulness. Now she understood why. She was just another asset to be measured. Another potential threat to be eliminated. Just like her mother. Stunned. At 1400, Reagan returned to Camp Pendleton. She needed to act normal. Rains had eyes everywhere. If he suspected she knew anything, she'd never make it to NCIS. The K-9 training course was busy. 20 handlers working with their dogs. Obstacle courses. Scent detection drills. Attack simulations. Reagan walked through the facility, nodding to colleagues, making small talk. Every smile felt like a lie. Every handshake felt like a betrayal. These people trusted her, and she was about to blow their world apart. Reagan. She turned. Elena Vasquez jogged toward her 28-years-old Marine Corps K-9 veterinarian, the closest thing Reagan had to a friend. You look like hell, Elena said. Late night. Couldn't sleep. Join the club. Coffee. They walked to the mess hall together. Reagan's mind raced. Could she trust Elena? Her mother's letter said trust no one, but she needed help. She couldn't do this alone. Over coffee, Reagan made a decision. Elena, can I ask you something? Hypothetically? Elena raised an eyebrow. Hypothetically, if you found evidence of criminal activity, high-level criminal activity, within the military, what would you do? Elena's expression shifted. Careful. Guarded. That depends on what kind of evidence, and how high level. High enough to get someone killed. Silence. Elena set down her coffee cup, looked around the mess hall, leaned closer. This isn't hypothetical, is it? Reagan didn't answer. Your mother, Elena said quietly. This is about your mother. How did you know? Because I've seen the look in your eyes every time someone mentions her death. You've never believed the official story. And now you've found something. Elena's voice dropped even lower. Be careful, Reagan. The military protects its own, including its monsters. I know. Do you? Because the last person who tried to expose high-level corruption ended up dead in Yemen. I don't want to lose you too. Reagan met Elena's eyes, saw genuine concern, genuine fear. I need medical records, Reagan said. Dogs listed as killed in action over the past 5 years. Can you access those? Elena hesitated. That's restricted. I'd need a reason. The reason is some of those dogs aren't dead. They were sold, and the people who sold them killed my mother to keep it secret. Elena was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. "I'll get you the records. But Reagan, promise me you'll be smart about this. Promise me you'll protect yourself." "I promise." It was a lie. Reagan knew it was a lie. Some promises you made knowing you'd break them. Some battles were worth dying for. That night, Reagan's apartment was broken into. She knew the moment she opened the door. The air was wrong. Something had been disturbed. She drew her sidearm, swept the rooms. Empty. Nothing stolen. But on her bed, Whisper, her rescue dog, a retired military canine she'd adopted 2 years ago. Old, gentle, gray muzzled, dead, throat cut, blood soaking the sheets, pinned to his collar, a note. Curiosity killed more than cats. Reagan stood frozen. The gun shook in her hand. Her vision blurred with tears. Whisper. Sweet, loyal Whisper. Who'd never hurt anyone. Who'd spent his retirement sleeping in sunbeams and begging for treats. Killed because of her. Killed to send a message. She should feel fear. She knew that. This was a warning. A threat. Stop digging, or you're next. But as Reagan knelt beside Whisper's body as she stroked his still warm fur, fear wasn't what she felt. Rage. Pure crystalline rage. They'd killed her mother. They'd killed her dog. They thought they could silence her with violence. They had no idea who they were dealing with. Reagan wiped her eyes, took a photo of the scene for evidence, then called Harrington. "They killed Whisper," she said. "They broke into my apartment and killed my dog." Silence. Then, "Pack a bag. You're staying at my compound tonight. Tomorrow we move." "No. Reagan. Tomorrow is too late. There's a shipment tonight. I saw it in Mom's journal. Dogs being moved from the San Diego Naval Base. Elena sent me the medical records, 6 dogs listed as killed in action last month. They're not dead. They're being sold. Tonight. You can't go alone." "Then come with me." Another silence. Reagan could hear Harrington thinking, weighing options, calculating risks. "Where's the shipment?" "Pier 7, midnight." "I'll meet you there at 23:30. And Reagan, bring the evidence. All of it. If something goes wrong, we need backup copies." "Understood." Reagan hung up, looked at Whisper one last time. "I'm going to burn them down," she whispered. "I promise you. I promise, Mom. I'm going to burn them all." At 23:15, Reagan arrived at the San Diego Naval Base. Pier 7 was isolated, used for classified shipments, minimal security, perfect for illegal activity. Reagan parked a quarter-mile away, approached on foot. The night was cold. Stars scattered across the sky. The Pacific Ocean rolled dark and endless beyond the dock. Reagan found a position behind a shipping container, pulled out binoculars. Activity. Trucks. Men loading crates onto a cargo ship. And standing in the center of it all, Victor Rains. Reagan's heart hammered. There he was. The man who'd built a fortune on blood and betrayal. The man who'd ordered her mother killed. The man who'd murdered Whisper. Standing 50 yards away, checking manifests, barking orders. Reagan raised her phone, started recording. "Come on," she whispered. "Show me something." A truck backed up to the loading area. The rear doors opened. Cages. 6 of them. Inside each cage, a dog. Reagan recognized the breeds. Belgian Malinois. German Shepherds, Dutch Shepherds, military working dogs, all of them, dogs that were supposed to be dead. She zoomed in, captured faces, ID tags, cage numbers. Evidence. Undeniable evidence. "That's enough." Reagan spun. A flashlight blinded her. Behind it, 3 men, armed, faces cold. "Drop the phone. Hands up." Reagan's mind raced. Fight, run. She could maybe take 1, but 3. A 4th man emerged from the shadows. Victor Rains, smiling. "Miss Cole, I'm disappointed. I expected you to be smarter than your mother. She at least lasted 2 years before getting caught. You managed barely 2 days. You killed her. I protected an operation worth hundreds of millions of dollars. She was a threat. I eliminated the threat. Business, not personal." Rains stepped closer. "Now you've become a threat, which means NCIS has the evidence," Reagan said quickly. "I copied everything. If I don't check in by midnight, they go public." Rains studied her, then laughed. "No, they don't. You haven't contacted NCIS. You haven't told anyone except that old warhorse Harrington, who, by the way, won't be joining you tonight. My men intercepted him an hour ago. He's currently enjoying the hospitality of our offshore facility." Reagan's blood went cold. Harrington. Captured. Because of her. "You've been monitored since this morning," Rains continued. "Your apartment, your phone, your little coffee date with the veterinarian. We know everything, Miss Cole. We've always known." The men grabbed her arms. Reagan struggled, kicked, tried to break free. Useless. They were too strong. "Take her to Warehouse 9, Rains ordered. "I'll be there shortly. We're going to have a conversation about where she hid the original evidence. Then we're going to have a conversation about how she's going to die." They dragged her into the darkness. 7,000 miles away in a military camp in northern Syria. Titan woke. His ears swiveled. His nose tested the air. Something was wrong. He couldn't explain it. Dogs don't think in explanations, but every instinct screamed that she needed him. Reagan, his person, his purpose, his heart. The chain around his neck felt like an insult. He'd been chained every night since arriving in Syria. Standard protocol. But tonight the chain was unbearable. He pulled. The chain held. He pulled harder. The stake shifted in the sand. Titan was 90 pounds of pure muscle trained to bite through protective gear, taught to run into gunfire without hesitation. He'd never quit on any mission, never hesitated at any command. But this wasn't a mission. This was survival. Not his survival. Hers. He threw his whole body against the chain. Once, twice, 3 times. The stake ripped from the ground. Titan ran. Petty Officer Marcus Drake stumbled from his tent, saw the broken chain, the empty stake. "Titan! Titan!" The dog didn't stop, didn't look back. Drake grabbed his radio. "Security, we have a K9 loose on base. Belgian Malinois, 90 pounds, extremely dangerous. Do not approach." But Titan was already gone. Racing toward the airfield, where a C-17 transport sat loading for the morning flight to California, he found an open cargo hatch, squeezed inside, buried himself behind crates of equipment. The plane's crew didn't see him. No one did. 7 hours later, as the sun rose over the Pacific, the C-17 lifted into the Syrian sky. Titan was going home. He didn't know it would take 18 hours. He didn't know Reagan had less than 6. He only knew that she needed him. And he would never ever quit. The warehouse smelled like rust and old blood. Reagan's wrists burned where the zip ties cut into her skin. They'd thrown her into a metal chair, bound her hands behind her back, and left her in darkness for what felt like hours. She tested the restraints. Tight. Professional. These men knew what they were doing. The door opened. Light flooded in. Victor Rains walked toward her jacket, off sleeves rolled up. Behind him, 2 guards with batons. "Let's start simple," Rains said, pulling up a chair to face her. "Where's the USB drive?" Reagan spat blood onto the concrete floor. "Where's Harrington? Answering questions with questions. Your mother did the same thing." Rains leaned back. "She lasted 4 hours before telling us everything. I'm hoping you'll be smarter. Save yourself some pain." "You're lying. My mother never talked." "Is that what you need to believe?" Rains smiled. "She gave us names, dates, the location of her backup files. Then she actually begged for us to spare you. We agreed, of course. We're not monsters. We just needed her to disappear quietly." Reagan's jaw tightened. He was trying to break her, trying to destroy her faith in her mother's memory. She wouldn't let him. "The USB drive is with NCIS," she said. "Delivered this morning. They're probably reading it right now." Rains studied her face, then nodded to one of the guards. The baton caught Reagan across the ribs. She gasped, doubled over, tasted copper. "I told you," Rains said calmly. "We've monitored everything. You didn't contact NCIS. You didn't contact anyone except Harrington and the veterinarian. Speaking of which," he pulled out his phone, showed Reagan a photo. Elena, bound and gagged in what looked like a van, eyes wide with terror. "We picked her up an hour ago. Lovely woman, very cooperative. She told us about the medical records she pulled for you. Dogs listed as killed in action." Rains pocketed the phone. "Now, the USB drive, the journal. Where are they?" Reagan's mind raced. Elena, captured because of her. Harrington, captured because of her. Everyone she touched was being destroyed. "They're hidden," Reagan said. "Kill me and you'll never find them." "I'm not going to kill you, not yet." Rains stood, walked behind her chair. "I'm going to give you a choice. You can tell me where the evidence is and your friends live. Or you can stay silent, and I'll start sending you pieces of them. A finger first, I think. Maybe an ear. We'll see how long your principles last when you're holding Harrington's wedding ring still attached to the finger." Reagan closed her eyes. Breathed. Think. There has to be a way out. "The evidence is in my car," she said. "Parked on Morrison Street, under the spare tire." Rains paused. "Really? That easy? I'm not dying for documents, and I'm not watching my friends die either." Reagan made her voice flat, defeated. "You win. Just let them go." Rains considered, then gestured to one of the guards. "Check her car, Morrison Street." The guard left. Reagan had bought herself time. Not much, maybe 20 minutes before they discovered the car was empty. 20 minutes to figure out how to survive. But deep down she knew the truth. She wasn't getting out of this warehouse alive. The only question was how many of them she could take with her. 35,000 feet above the Pacific Ocean, Titan pressed himself deeper into the cargo hold. The noise was deafening. Engines roaring, metal vibrating, cold seeping through the floor. But the dog didn't move, didn't whimper, didn't give up. He'd been trained to endure, to wait, to hold position until the mission was complete. This was the longest mission of his life. He didn't understand planes, didn't understand the concept of flight. He only knew that the world had become loud and strange, and that somewhere on the other end of this nightmare, she was waiting. Reagan. Her scent was burned into his memory. Her voice was the only command that mattered. Her hand on his head was the only comfort he needed. He would find her. He would save her. Or he would die trying. A crew member walked past flashlight sweeping the cargo hold. Titan pressed flat, didn't breathe, didn't blink. The flashlight moved on. Titan exhaled slowly. 16 more hours. He could wait 16 hours. He could wait forever. Back in the warehouse, Reagan counted seconds. She'd learned the technique from her mother. When you can't control your situation, control your mind. Count seconds. Calculate options. Stay sharp. 412 seconds since the guard left. Rains sat across from her, scrolling through his phone. Casual. Bored. Like he did this every week. Maybe he did. You know what I don't understand? Rains said suddenly. Your mother was smart. Brilliant, actually. She could have gone private sector, made millions training dogs for celebrities. Instead, she stayed in the Navy, stayed loyal to an institution that would betray her without hesitation. Loyalty isn't transactional. Everything is transactional. Every relationship, every job, every sacrifice. People do things because they expect something in return. Your mother expected justice. She expected the system to protect her when she reported corruption. Rains laughed. The system ate her alive. You ate her alive. I'm part of the system, the honest part, the part that admits what it is. He leaned forward. You think the Navy is some noble institution. It's a machine that chews up young men and women, spits out their bones, and calls it patriotism. I just found a way to profit from the machine. Reagan stared at him. You're a traitor. I'm a businessman. Traitors betray their country. I just redirected resources. Those dogs were going to be worked to death anyway, deployed until they broke, then euthanized and forgotten. I gave them new lives, better lives in some cases. You sold them to cartels. I sold them to people who valued them. The cartels treat their dogs like kings, gold collars, prime meat, private veterinarians. Those dogs live better than most Americans. Reagan felt sick. He'd convinced himself he was doing something noble. That was the worst part. The door opened. The guard returned. Car was empty, sir. Nothing under the spare tire. Nothing in the vehicle at all. Rains turned to Reagan. His smile vanished. Disappointing, he said quietly. I really hoped you'd cooperate. He nodded to the second guard. The baton hit Reagan's shoulder. She screamed. Hit her stomach. She doubled over, gasping. Hit her back, her legs, her arms. When they finished, Reagan hung limp in the chair. Blood dripped from her mouth. Her vision swam. Where is the evidence? Rains asked. Reagan coughed, struggled to form words. Go to hell. Rains sighed. We have 12 hours before the shipment leaves. That's 12 hours to persuade you. I'm very good at persuasion. He stood. Take a break. Let her think about her choices. We'll resume in 30 minutes. He walked out. The guards followed. The door slammed shut. Reagan was alone in the darkness again. At the Camp Pendleton K-9 facility, chaos erupted. The night supervisor had found Reagan's apartment. Found Whisper. Found the blood and the note. Within an hour, military police were involved. Within 2 hours, NCIS agents arrived. But no one could find Reagan. Her car was abandoned on Morrison Street. Her phone was dead. Her last known contact was with Elena Vasquez, who was also missing. The agents checked security footage, saw Reagan entering the naval base at 2300, saw her vehicle near Pier 7. Then nothing. She walked into something, Agent Patricia Okonkwo said, studying the footage. Look at her body language. She knew it was dangerous. She went anyway. Why? Her partner asked. Okonkwo pulled up Reagan's file. Read about her mother. Read about Operation Cerberus, the investigation that had been quietly buried 5 years ago. Because she's finishing what her mother started. Okonkwo grabbed her jacket. Get me everything on Victor Rains, now. Reagan woke to water splashing her face. She gasped, choked, struggled against her restraints. Rains stood over her with an empty bucket. "Good. You're awake. We have a visitor." The door opened. A man walked in. Reagan's heart stopped. Admiral Harrison Cross. 3 stars on his collar. Commander of Naval Special Warfare Command. The highest-ranking officer in the entire SEAL program. He walked toward her slowly, hands clasped behind his back. Distinguished. Gray-haired. The kind of face you'd see on recruiting posters. "Miss Cole," he said, "you've caused quite a problem." Reagan couldn't speak, couldn't process. The Admiral was involved. This went higher than she'd ever imagined. "Your mother was a problem too," Cross continued. "A good trainer. Loyal. Talented. But she couldn't leave well enough alone. She found a thread and kept pulling until the whole sweater unraveled. You killed her." "I authorized the elimination of a security threat. There's a difference." Cross crouched to meet her eyes. "Cerberus funds operations that Congress won't approve. Black ops. Deniable missions. The things that keep this country safe while civilians sleep peacefully. Your mother wanted to destroy that because of some abstract notion of integrity." "Integrity isn't abstract. It's the difference between you and the enemy." Cross smiled. Almost kind. Almost fatherly. "The enemy is everyone who threatens American interests. Sometimes that includes Americans. Your mother learned that lesson. Now you're learning it too." He stood, turned to Rains. "Find the evidence. Use whatever means necessary. When you're finished, make her disappear. Quietly. And Harrington, the old man knows too much. Same fate." Cross walked toward the door, paused. "It's a shame, really. Your mother spoke highly of you, said you had potential. She was right, you do. Just not enough to survive your own stubbornness." He left. Reagan stared at the closed door. The Admiral. 3-star Admiral. 30 years of service. War hero. Family man. Traitor. And now she knew everything. Knew too much to ever be released. Rains pulled out a knife. "Last chance," he said. "The evidence. Where is it?" Reagan closed her eyes. Thought of her mother. Thought of Titan. Thought of every moment they'd shared. If she was going to die, she would die like her mother, protecting the truth, protecting the mission. "It's buried," she said. "Where, under my mother's memorial, Bakersfield. Where Titan was born." Rains hesitated. Considered. "If you're lying, I'm not. I buried it the day after I found it. Insurance policy. Kill me and it stays buried forever. Let me go. I'll dig it up myself." She was lying. The evidence was in her boot. A micro SD card sewn into the lining. She'd transferred everything the moment she found it. But Rains didn't know that. "Send a team to Bakersfield," Rains said to the guard. "Dig up everything within 100 yards of that farmhouse." The guard nodded and left. Reagan had bought more time, but the clock was still ticking. At 400, the C-17 landed at Naval Air Station North Island. Titan felt the wheels touch ground, felt the vibration change, knew instinctively that the waiting was over. The cargo doors began opening. Ground crew approached with forklifts and loading equipment. Titan didn't wait. The moment the doors cracked wide enough, he bolted, 90 pounds of muscle exploding from the shadows, a brown blur shooting across the tarmac. "What the hell? Was that a dog? Security. We have an animal loose on the runway." Titan didn't hear them, didn't care. He was running following something deeper than scent, deeper than training. The bond. She was close. He could feel it. Miles away in a warehouse on Pier 7. Reagan suddenly looked up. Something had changed. Something in the air, in her bones, in her heart. Hope. She didn't know why. But for the first time since the guards grabbed her, she felt hope. Agent Okonkwo's phone rang at 0430. "This is Okonkwo." "Agent, this is Master Chief Wade Harrington. I don't have much time. Reagan Cole is being held in Warehouse 9, Pier 7, San Diego Naval Base. Victor Rains has her. Admiral Harrison Cross is involved." Okonkwo grabbed a pen. "How do you know this? Where are you?" "I'm being held on a boat, offshore, maybe 5 miles out. They're going to kill me in a few hours." "We can send—" "Forget me, save Reagan. She has evidence of a 15-year operation. Military dogs sold to enemy forces. Billions of dollars. Cross authorized everything. Rains ran it. Harrington, we need your location. Listen to me. There are 6 of us. Old operators. We served with Reagan's mother. If you can get us weapons, we can extract Reagan ourselves." "That's not protocol. Protocol got Evelyn Cole killed. Protocol will get Reagan killed. Are you going to follow protocol? Or are you going to save a 20-year-old woman who's being tortured right now because she tried to do the right thing?" Silence. Okonkwo made a decision. "Give me the names." Harrington gave her 6 names. Men in their 60s and 70s. Veterans of Vietnam, Grenada, Panama Desert Storm. Warriors who'd been forgotten by a country they'd served. "They're all within 50 miles of San Diego," Harrington said. "Call them. Tell them Garrett's daughter needs extraction. They'll know what to do. And you, I'll figure something out. I always do." The line went dead. Okonkwo stared at her phone. This was insane. Calling retired operators, authorizing an unofficial rescue mission, potentially starting a war with a 3-star admiral. She made the first call. Reagan lost track of time. The beatings came in waves. Questions. Pain. Silence. Questions. Pain. Silence. She told them nothing useful, gave them false locations, false contacts, false hope. But her body was failing. Blood loss, cracked ribs, probably internal bleeding. She wasn't going to last much longer. The door opened. Rains again. But his expression was different now. Worried. "The farmhouse was empty," he said. "Nothing buried anywhere." "I lied. Obviously." He grabbed her hair, yanked her head back. "No more games. Where is it?" Reagan smiled through bloody teeth. "Everywhere. I copied it, uploaded it, sent it to journalists. By tomorrow, the whole world will know." Rains hit her, hard. She tasted blood. "You're lying again." "Am I? Check Twitter. Check Reddit. Check your email." His phone buzzed. He answered, listened. His face went pale. "What do you mean, compromised who? How is that possible?" Reagan didn't know what was happening, but something had changed. Something was moving. Rains hung up, stared at her. "Your friends are active," he said. "Someone called the old operators. They're gathering." "Good. It won't matter. You'll be dead before they arrive. And so will everyone you care about." He pulled out his gun. Reagan closed her eyes. Thought of her mother. Thought of Titan. "I'm sorry. I tried. I love you both." The door exploded inward. Reagan's eyes flew open. Titan stood in the doorway, covered in dust, fur matted with blood. 18 hours of flight, miles of running, and his beautiful golden eyes, were locked on Rains. Rains raised his gun. Titan launched. 90 pounds of fury and love and pure, unstoppable will. The gun fired. Missed. Titan hit Rains in the chest, drove him to the ground. Teeth found throat. Rains screamed. Titan didn't let go. Reagan sobbed. Good boy, that's my good boy. The scream stopped. Titan released. Walked to Reagan. Pressed his head against her leg. His fur was warm. His breathing was steady. He'd crossed an ocean for her. He'd done the impossible. And now they faced the impossible together. We need to move, Reagan whispered. Can you help me, boy? Titan barked once. They had 6 hours until sunrise, 6 hours to escape, 6 hours to expose everything. The war wasn't over. It was just beginning. Reagan's fingers fumbled with the zip ties binding her wrists. Her hands were slick with blood, some hers, some Rains's. Titan stood guard over the unconscious man, a low growl rumbling in his chest. I need something sharp, boy. Titan's ears perked. He padded across the warehouse, sniffed around the workbench, and returned with a utility knife clamped gently in his jaws. Reagan almost laughed. Almost. She cut the ties, gasping as circulation returned to her hands. Every movement sent fire through her cracked ribs. She looked down at herself, blood-soaked, shirt-swollen face, one eye nearly shut. She looked at Titan. Dust-covered. Exhausted. A gash on his shoulder where something had caught him during his escape. You crossed an ocean for me, she whispered. Titan pressed his head against her leg. His tail wagged once. I don't deserve you. Another wag. Reagan forced herself to stand, swayed, grabbed the chair for balance. They needed to move. More guards would come. Cross would send everyone once he realized Rains had failed. She searched Rains's body, found a radio, a phone, a keycard, and a Sig Sauer P226. She checked the magazine. Full. The phone buzzed. Text message from an unknown number. Package secured. Proceeding to extraction point B. Reagan didn't know what that meant. Didn't care. She pocketed the phone and moved toward the door. Titan fell into step beside her. Silent. Professional. Eyes scanning every shadow. They were a team again. God, she'd missed him. The warehouse corridor stretched ahead. Emergency lights cast everything in red. Reagan moved slowly, pistol raised Titan slightly ahead. Voices, coming from the left. Reagan pressed against the wall. Hand signal to Titan, stay. 2 guards walked past, talking casually. Heard Rains finally broke her. Getting the location now. About time. Admiral wants this wrapped up before dawn. They passed without looking. Reagan exhaled. Waited 30 seconds. Moved. The exit was ahead. She could see moonlight through the cracked door. Almost there. A hand grabbed her from behind. Reagan spun gun up, finger on trigger. Easy, kid. It's me. Harrington. His face was bruised. Blood caked his gray beard. But his eyes were sharp alive. How? Jumped off the boat. Swam 3 miles. I'm too old for this crap. He looked at Titan. That dog really flew across the Pacific. He did. Damn, your mother would be proud. Harrington took the radio from Reagan's hand. We've got 6 operators converging on this location, ETA 20 minutes. But Cross knows something's wrong. He's calling in reinforcements. How many? Enough to bury us if we don't move fast. Reagan's ribs screamed. Her vision blurred at the edges. She had maybe an hour before her body gave out completely. Elena, she said. They have Elena. I saw a photo. She's in the building, West Wing. 2 guards. We're getting her. Reagan, She's here because of me. We're getting her. Harrington studied her face, saw the steel beneath the blood. All right, but we move fast. No heroics. Reagan almost smiled. Coming from the man who swam 3 miles after jumping off a boat. That wasn't heroics. That was stubbornness. He took point. Stay close. Tighten on rear guard. They moved into the darkness. The West Wing was older industrial. Storage rooms and maintenance closets. Reagan's training kicked in despite her injuries. Corner checks. Sightlines threat assessment. Titan stopped suddenly. Ears flat. Hair raised. Contact, Harrington whispered. A door opened ahead. Guard stepping out, cigarette in hand. Harrington moved before Reagan could react. Silent. Brutal. The guard dropped without a sound. Still got it, Harrington muttered, dragging the body into a closet. They continued. The hallway split. Left or right? Titan sniffed the air, turned left, started walking. He knows where she is, Harrington asked. He's met Elena. He remembers her scent. That's one hell of a nose. Titan stopped at a door, looked back at Reagan, waited. Reagan positioned herself, Harrington on the opposite side. She held up 3 fingers. 2. 1. Harrington kicked the door. 2 guards inside, both reaching for weapons. Reagan shot the first. Harrington tackled the second. Titan lunged, pinned the man's arm before he could draw. Elena sat tied to a chair, eyes wide, gagged. Reagan rushed to her, cut the gag first. Reagan, oh God, I thought they killed you. Not yet. Reagan cut the ropes. Can you walk? I think so. They didn't hurt me. Just asked questions. I didn't tell them anything. Good. Reagan helped her stand. We're leaving. Stay behind Harrington. Don't stop for anything. Elena looked at Titan. Is that... long story. Move. They ran. Alarms started blaring. Someone had found Rains. Or the guards. Or all of it. Double time, Harrington shouted. They sprinted down the corridor. Reagan's cracked ribs turned every breath into agony. She pushed through it. No choice. An exit door ahead. Harrington hit it, burst into the night air, and stopped. 12 men stood in a semicircle. Armed. Waiting. At their center, Admiral Harrison Cross. Master Chief Harrington, Cross said calmly. Miss Cole, I'm disappointed. I expected more from both of you. Reagan raised her pistol. 12 rifles raised in response. You can kill me, Cross continued. But then my men kill everyone you care about. Your friend Elena, Harrington, even that remarkable dog, he smiled. Lower your weapon. Let's talk like civilized people. Reagan's finger tightened on the trigger. Reagan, Harrington said quietly. Do what he says. He killed my mother. And he'll kill everyone here if you don't stand down. Live to fight another day. Reagan's hand trembled. Every instinct screamed to shoot. To end Cross right now. But Harrington was right. 12 against 3. They wouldn't survive. She lowered the gun. Cross nodded approvingly. Smart girl. Take them. Guards surged forward, grabbed Reagan, Harrington, Elena. Someone tried to grab Titan. The dog snarled, snapped. Leave the animal, Cross ordered. It can't testify. They were dragged back into the warehouse. Different room this time. Larger, industrial equipment. A cargo crane suspended from the ceiling. Cross followed, hands clasped behind his back. You know what I find fascinating, he said conversationally. Your mother had the same problem. Brilliance undermined by morality. She could have been extraordinary. Instead, she chose martyrdom. She chose truth. Truth, Cross laughed. Truth is a currency, Miss Cole. It has value only when someone is willing to pay for it. Your mother's truth bought her nothing except a grave in the desert. Her truth is going to destroy you. Cross stepped closer. His voice dropped. Where is it? The evidence, the USB drive, the journal, everything. Reagan said nothing. Cross sighed, drew his sidearm, pressed it against Elena's forehead. Elena whimpered. I'll ask once more, Cross said. Where is the evidence? Reagan's heart hammered. Elena's eyes pleaded, tears streaming down her face. It's in my boot, Reagan said. Right boot, sewn into the lining. Micro SD card, everything. Cross gestured. A guard cut away Reagan's boot, found the hidden pocket, extracted the tiny card. Thank you for your honesty. Cross pocketed the card. Unfortunately, honesty doesn't grant mercy. You've seen too much. All of you have. He raised his gun again, pointed at Reagan this time. For what it's worth, I am sorry. You really could have been extraordinary. Reagan closed her eyes. Thought of Titan. Thought of her mother. At least I tried. At least I fought. A gunshot. Reagan flinched, but she didn't feel pain. She opened her eyes. One of Cross's guards was down. Blood pooling. More gunshots. Chaos. Men shouting. Contact, contact, left. Reagan dove to the ground, looked toward the source of the firing. 6 figures emerged from the shadows. Old men, gray hair, lined faces. But they moved like ghosts, weapons up, firing with surgical precision. Harrington's operators. They'd arrived. Get down, someone bellowed. Reagan crawled toward Elena, shielding her. Titan appeared from nowhere, standing over both of them. The firefight was brief and brutal. Cross's men were younger, stronger, but the operators were smarter. Decades of experience, instincts honed in wars these guards had only read about. 30 seconds, maybe less. When the shooting stopped, 8 of Cross's guards were down. The remaining 4 had surrendered. And Cross was running. Reagan struggled to her feet, grabbed a fallen rifle. He's getting away. One of the operators, a massive black man with a silver mustache, blocked her path. You're in no condition. That man killed my mother. I'm finishing this. The operator studied her, saw something in her eyes. Doc, go with her, he said. Keep her alive. A smaller man, wiry, intense, nodded. Let's move. Reagan ran, Titan beside her, Doc behind. Cross had a 30-second lead. He was heading toward the docks, toward the water. Reagan's body screamed. Blood soaked her shirt. Every breath was a knife in her chest. She didn't slow down. They burst onto the pier. Cross was climbing into a speedboat, engine already running. Stop! Cross turned, saw Reagan, smiled. You're too late, Miss Cole. By tomorrow, I'll be in international waters. By next week, I'll have new identities, new accounts. New life. You've accomplished nothing. Reagan raised the rifle. I've accomplished the truth. Truth dies with you. Not anymore. Reagan tapped the radio clipped to her belt, the radio she'd taken from Rains. Everything you just said is being broadcast on Rains's frequency. Every guard on this base heard you confess. Every communication system on the naval base recorded it. Cross's smile vanished. You're bluffing. Am I? Check your phone. Check Twitter. Agent Okonkwo released my mother's files an hour ago. The journal, the manifests, everything. It's already viral. Senators are calling for investigations. The Secretary of Defense is on television demanding answers. Cross stared at her. For the first time, genuine fear flickered in his eyes. "You've destroyed yourself," Reagan continued. "Your career, your legacy, everything you built on blood and betrayal. It's over, Admiral. The only question is, do you want to die a fugitive or face justice like a man?" Cross's hand moved toward his pistol. Titan launched. The dog hit Cross at full speed, driving him back into the boat. The pistol flew into the water. Cross screamed, tried to fight, but Titan was relentless. Reagan lowered her rifle. "Titan, enough!" The dog froze, jaws inches from Cross's throat. "Guard!" Titan shifted, pinned Cross's chest, eyes locked on his prey. Doc approached, zip ties ready, secured Cross's wrists behind his back. "Admiral Harrison Cross," Doc said, "you're under arrest for treason conspiracy to commit murder and the murder of Chief Petty Officer Evelyn Cole." Cross laughed bitterly. "You have no authority." "He doesn't," a new voice said. "But I do." Agent Okonkwo stepped onto the pier, badge raised. 4 NCIS agents behind her. "Admiral Cross, I've been waiting a long time to say this." She smiled. "You have the right to remain silent. I strongly suggest you use it." They hauled Cross to his feet, led him away. Reagan watched him go. It was over. After 5 years. After her mother's death. After everything. It was finally over. Her legs buckled. Doc caught her. "Easy, easy. We need a medic now." Reagan's vision blurred. The world went soft at the edges. Titan pressed against her, whimpering, licking her face. "I'm okay, boy," she whispered. "I'm okay." She wasn't okay. She knew that. Blood loss, internal bleeding, cracked ribs, possible punctured lung. But she'd won. Her mother could rest now. "Stay with me," Doc said. "Help is coming. Stay with me, Reagan." She tried to hold on, tried to stay conscious. But the darkness was warm, inviting. Her mother's voice echoed in her memory. "Be brave, be smart, be the warrior I raised you to be." "I tried, Mom. I hope I made you proud." Reagan closed her eyes and let the darkness take her. Titan howled. The sound echoed across the water, across the base, across the night. A dog's grief, a dog's fear, a dog's desperate prayer that his person would survive. Doc worked frantically, pressure on the wound, elevating her legs, shouting for the medics. "Don't you die on me, kid. Don't you dare die." Harrington arrived, limping badly, saw Reagan, saw the blood. "No, no, no, no." "She's alive," Doc said. "Barely. We need to move her now." The medics arrived with a stretcher, loaded Reagan carefully, started running toward the ambulance. Titan tried to follow. A medic blocked him. "Sorry, dog. You can't." Harrington grabbed the medic's arm. "That dog just crossed the Pacific Ocean to save her. He goes where she goes." The medic looked at Harrington's face, at the old operators gathering behind him, at the legend in their eyes. "Get in," the medic said. Titan jumped into the ambulance, lay down next to the stretcher, head on Reagan's arm. The doors closed. Sirens screamed. Reagan Cole fought for her life, and the dog who loved her refused to leave her side. Back on the pier, Harrington watched the ambulance disappear into the night. Elena stood beside him, wrapped in a shock blanket. "Will she make it?" Elena asked. "She's Evelyn Cole's daughter. She's too stubborn to die." "That's not an answer." Harrington was quiet for a moment. Then, "I've seen warriors survive worse. I've seen them die from less. It's not about the wound. It's about what you're fighting for." "What is she fighting for?" Harrington looked at the sky, stars scattered like old memories. Her mother's honor, her country's integrity, a dog who would never abandon her. He smiled sadly. Those are things worth dying for. More importantly, they're things worth living for. Elena shivered. The night had grown cold. Or maybe the cold was inside her. What happens now? Now we wait, and we pray. Harrington turned away from the water. Come on. There's a hospital that needs us. They walked into the darkness together. Behind them, the naval base erupted in chaos. Security forces, FBI, NCIS, military police, everyone trying to understand what had happened. What had happened was simple. A 20-year-old woman had done what her mother couldn't finish. She'd exposed the truth. She'd brought down an admiral. She'd proven that courage doesn't have an age, that justice doesn't have a deadline, that love, the love between a girl and her dog, could cross oceans and conquer empires. And now she lay in an ambulance, bleeding out, fighting to survive. Titan never moved from her side. His breathing matched hers. Slow, shallow, fading. The medic worked on Reagan, IV fluids, pressure bandages, oxygen mask. Come on, kid. Stay with me. Titan whimpered. Reagan's hand twitched, found Titan's fur, gripped weakly. Good boy, she breathed. You're such a good boy. Titan's tail wagged once, just once, but it was enough. The ambulance screamed toward Balboa Medical Center, and somewhere in the darkness, on the edge of consciousness, Reagan Cole heard her mother's voice one more time. I'm proud of you, sweetheart. I've always been proud of you. Reagan smiled and held on. The surgeon's name was Dr. Patricia Nguyen. 30 years of trauma experience, 2 tours in Afghanistan patching up soldiers who shouldn't have survived. She'd seen everything. She'd never seen a dog refuse to leave the operating room. Someone get that animal out of here, she ordered. Titan didn't move. He sat by the door, eyes fixed on the table where Reagan lay unconscious. 2 nurses approached. Titan growled. Low. Dangerous. He's not leaving, Harrington said from the doorway. Trust me, I've tried. Dr. Nguyen looked at the old warrior, looked at the dog, made a decision. Fine. He stays by the door. He moves 1 inch closer. He's out. Titan settled, as if he understood. Maybe he did. Dr. Nguyen turned to her patient, 20 years old, multiple rib fractures, punctured lung, internal bleeding, blood pressure dropping. The girl was dying. All right, people, let's save her life. The surgery took 7 hours. Titan never moved. Harrington paced the hallway. Elena sat curled in a plastic chair wrapped in blankets, staring at nothing. The 6 operators, the old guard who'd answered the call, gathered in the waiting room like ghosts of wars past. At 6 a.m., Agent Okonkwo arrived. Any word? Harrington shook his head. Still in surgery. Okonkwo sat down heavily. She looked exhausted. Dark circles under her eyes, coffee stains on her jacket. Cross is talking, she said, trying to cut a deal. What kind of deal? Full immunity in exchange for testimony against everyone else in Cerberus. Names, accounts, foreign contacts. 20 years of corruption. Harrington's jaw tightened. That bastard doesn't deserve immunity. He won't get it. The Attorney General already rejected the offer. He's going down. All of them are going down. Okonkwo paused. 17 arrests so far. 2 admirals, 3 captains, a dozen contractors. More coming. Good. There's something else. Okonkwo pulled out her phone, showed Harrington a video. This is trending globally. 40 million views in 6 hours. The video showed Reagan at the pier. Bloodied, broken, confronting Cross. Her voice clear, despite everything, "I've accomplished the truth." Harrington watched the video, felt something crack inside his chest. "She's a hero," Okonkwo said quietly. "The whole world knows it. She's a 20-year-old girl who almost died because the system failed her mother. The system is broken. But people like Reagan, people like her mother, they're how we fix it." Okonkwo stood. "I need to get back. Call me when she wakes up." If she wakes up, Harrington thought. But he didn't say it. At 7:23 a.m., Dr. Nguyen emerged from the operating room. Harrington stood immediately. Elena grabbed his arm. "She's stable," Dr. Nguyen said. "We repaired the lung, stopped the internal bleeding, set the ribs. She'll need months of recovery, physical therapy, probably some psychological support too." "But she'll live," Dr. Nguyen almost smiled. "She'll live. That girl has more fight in her than anyone I've ever seen." She glanced toward the OR. "Same goes for her dog. He hasn't moved in 7 hours, not even to drink water." "Can we see her? She's in recovery, unconscious. Probably will be for several hours." Dr. Nguyen hesitated. "The dog can go in. Something tells me he's earned it." Harrington walked to the OR door. Titan looked up at him. "Go on, boy. She needs you." Titan stood slowly, stiff, exhausted. He walked into the recovery room with the dignity of a soldier returning from war. Reagan lay in a hospital bed. Tubes and wires everywhere. Machines beeping steadily. Titan approached, sniffed her hand, whimpered once. Then he lay down beside the bed, head on his paws, eyes on her face. He would wait. He would always wait. 3 hours later, Reagan opened her eyes. Everything hurt. The light was too bright. Sounds were muffled, distant. She tried to move, couldn't. Pain flared everywhere. "Easy." A voice. Familiar. "Harrington." "Don't try to sit up." Reagan turned her head, saw the old man in a chair beside her bed. Behind him, Elena dozed on a small couch. "What?" Her voice was a rasp. "What happened? You won." Harrington's eyes glistened. "You beat them, Reagan. Cross is in custody. The operation is exposed. 17 arrests and counting." Reagan processed this slowly. Her brain felt wrapped in cotton. Titan. A wet nose pressed against her hand. Reagan looked down. Titan lay beside her bed tail, wagging weakly. Tears filled her eyes. "Good boy, such a good boy." Titan's tail wagged harder. "He flew across the Pacific," Harrington said. "Hid in a cargo plane, ran halfway across San Diego to find you. Took down Rains single-handed." He shook his head. "I've worked with military dogs for 40 years. Never seen anything like it." Reagan's fingers found Titan's fur, gripped weakly. "The bond," she whispered. "Mom always said it was the most powerful thing in the world." "Your mother was right about a lot of things." Reagan closed her eyes. Exhaustion pulled at her, but she had to know. "My mother's file. The truth about how she died. Is it public?" Harrington nodded. "Everything. The whole world knows she was murdered for trying to expose corruption. She's being called a hero, Reagan, a patriot who gave her life for integrity." Reagan started crying. Couldn't stop. 5 years of grief. 5 years of questions. 5 years of being told her mother died in combat, a random casualty of war. Now everyone knew the truth. Now everyone knew Evelyn Cole was a hero. Harrington held Reagan's hand while she cried. Didn't say anything. Just let her feel it. All the pain and relief and sorrow and triumph mixed together. Finally, Reagan's tears slowed. Her breathing steadied. What happens now? Now you heal, then we figure out the rest. Cross's trial. Months away, maybe a year. The legal process is slow. Reagan shook her head. Not just the trial. Cerberus, the dogs they sold. Are they going to recover them? Harrington's expression shifted. That's complicated. Tell me. Some of the dogs are in countries we don't have jurisdiction. Cartels, warlords, places where American law means nothing. We might get some back, but others... He trailed off. Reagan's jaw tightened. They're still out there, working for monsters. Dogs we trained. Dogs that trusted us. I know. That's not acceptable. Reagan, you almost died. I need to fix this. She tried to sit up. Pain exploded through her chest. She fell back, gasping. Titan whimpered. Pressed closer. Stop, Harrington ordered. You have 4 cracked ribs, a repaired lung, and enough internal damage to kill a normal person. You're not fixing anything for at least 3 months. Reagan glared at him. The same stubborn fire her mother had. Fine. 3 months. Then I'm going after every single dog. Harrington almost laughed. Almost. I believe you. The door opened. Agent Okonkwo entered, followed by a woman in civilian clothes. 50s, sharp eyes, expensive suit. Miss Cole, Okonkwo said. This is Deputy Secretary of Defense Margaret Chen. She wanted to meet you personally. Reagan blinked. Deputy Secretary of Defense. 4th highest-ranking civilian in the Pentagon. Ma'am. Chen approached the bed. Studied Reagan for a long moment. 20 years old, she said finally. And you just dismantled a 15-year criminal conspiracy that 3 separate investigations failed to uncover. I had help. You had a dog and an old man. Chen glanced at Harrington, then Titan. Impressive help, but still. She pulled up a chair. I've read your file. Your mother's file. Everything Cerberus tried to bury. And I owe you an apology. The system failed your mother. Failed you. Failed every dog that was sold to our enemies. Chen's voice hardened. I intend to fix that. Reagan waited. I'm creating a task force, Chen continued. Operation Recovery. Dedicated to locating and retrieving every military working dog illegally sold through Cerberus. International cooperation, specialized teams, whatever resources are necessary. That could take years. It could take decades. I don't care. Those dogs served this country. They deserve to come home. Chen paused. I want you to lead it. Reagan's heart stopped. What? You're the best K9's trainer in the program. You understand the bond between handler and dog better than anyone. And after what you've done, you have credibility that no one else can match. Chen leaned forward. When you're recovered, I want you running recovery, full authority, direct reporting to my office. Reagan looked at Harrington. He shrugged. Your call, kid. Reagan looked at Titan. The dog gazed back at her, trusting, patient. I'll do it, Reagan said, on one condition. Name it. Titan stays with me, officially. He's been assigned to Marcus Drake, but done. Chen didn't hesitate. I'll have the paperwork processed today. That dog belongs with you. Reagan's hand found Titan's head, scratched behind his ears. Then I'm in. Chen stood, extended her hand. Reagan shook it weakly. Welcome to the fight, Miss Cole. I'll be in touch. She left. Okonkwo lingered. One more thing, the agent said. The Senate Armed Services Committee wants you to testify when you're able. Testify about what? Everything. Cerberus, your mother's murder, Cross's confession. They're holding hearings on military corruption. Your testimony could change policy for the next 50 years. Reagan felt overwhelmed. Testimony, task forces, international operations. 3 days ago, she'd been a junior trainer cleaning kennels. "I'll testify," she said, "but not for policy. For my mother, for the dogs, for everyone who was betrayed." Okonkwo nodded. "That's exactly why they need to hear you." She headed for the door. "Get some rest, Miss Cole. You've earned it." The room fell quiet. Reagan lay back exhausted. Her body ached. Her mind spun. "Hell of a week," Harrington said. Reagan laughed. "It hurt. That's one way to put it." "How do you feel?" "Like I got hit by a truck, but also," she searched for the word, "lighter, like something I've been carrying for 5 years finally lifted." "That's closure. Rare thing. Most people never get it. I got lucky. Luck had nothing to do with it." Harrington stood. "You fought. Your mother fought. That dog flew across an ocean and fought. Luck is for people who wait for things to happen. Warriors make things happen." He moved toward the door. "Where are you going?" "To check on the others. Doc took some shrapnel during the firefight. Nothing serious, but he's complaining about hospital food." Harrington paused. "Get some sleep, Reagan. I'll be back tonight." "Harrington, yeah, thank you for everything, for believing in me when no one else did." The old warrior's eyes softened. "Your mother asked me to look after you. Night before her last deployment. Said, if anything happens to me, make sure Reagan knows she's capable of extraordinary things." He smiled. "I'm just keeping a promise." He left. Reagan stared at the ceiling. Her mother's last words, passed through Harrington, kept for 5 years. "She knew," Reagan whispered to Titan. "She knew she might not come back." Titan's tail thumped against the floor. "But she went anyway, because that's what warriors do." The dog pressed his nose against her hand. Reagan closed her eyes. Sleep pulled at her. But one more thought surfaced before darkness claimed her. She wasn't alone anymore. She had Harrington. Elena. The old operators. Okonkwo. Even Deputy Secretary Chen. And she had Titan. The dog who wouldn't quit. The dog who crossed an ocean. The dog who proved that love was stronger than distance, stronger than danger, stronger than anything. Reagan slept, and for the first time in 5 years, she didn't dream of her mother's death. She dreamed of her mother's smile. 2 weeks later, Reagan was moved to a rehabilitation facility. Titan came with her. No one questioned it anymore. The video of him at the pier standing over Cross, pinning him until help arrived, had gone viral. He was famous now. The SEAL K-9 who flew across the Pacific. Letters arrived daily. Thousands of them. From veterans, from dog lovers, from parents who used Reagan's story to teach their children about courage. Elena visited every day, brought coffee and news and gossip from the K-9 facility. "They're renaming the training center," Elena said one afternoon. "The Evelyn Cole Military Working Dog Center. Official ceremony next month." Reagan's throat tightened. She would have hated that. Probably, but she would have been proud too. Harrington came twice a week, brought chess sets and war stories and arguments about politics. "Cross's trial starts in 4 months, he reported. His lawyers are trying everything jurisdiction challenges, evidence, suppression, national security claims. None of it's working. Good. Rains flipped. Full testimony in exchange for reduced sentence. He's giving up everyone names accounts foreign contacts. The whole network. Reagan nodded. Rains. The man who'd killed Whisper. The man who'd beaten her. Part of her wanted him to suffer forever. Another part just wanted it to be over. What about the dogs? She asked. Any progress on recovery? Harrington's expression shifted. Some. 3 dogs recovered from a Mexican cartel last week. 2 more being negotiated from a private military contractor in Africa. That's 5 out of 400. It's a start. It's not enough. No, but it's what we have. Harrington leaned forward. You'll get more when you're back on your feet. Chen's team is already building databases tracking shipments, making contacts. By the time you're ready, you'll have everything you need. Reagan looked out the window. Titan lay at her feet, dozing in a patch of sunlight. I keep thinking about them, she said quietly. The dogs, scattered across the world, working for people who see them as tools, wondering why they were abandoned. They don't wonder. Dogs don't think like that. Maybe not. But I do. Reagan's voice hardened. Every single one of them. I'm bringing every single one home. Harrington studied her, saw the steel, saw the determination. I know you will. The phone on Reagan's bedside table buzzed. Unknown number. She answered. Hello? Miss Cole, this is Petty Officer Marcus Drake, Titan's handler in Syria. Reagan sat up straighter. Drake, I've heard about you. Likewise. A pause. I'm calling because I want you to know something. That dog, Titan. In 3 months of deployment, he was the best canine I ever worked with. Saved my life twice. Saved my whole team. He's special. He is. But here's the thing, he was never fully mine. Every night he'd sit facing west, just staring. I didn't understand it then, now I do. Reagan's eyes burned. He was looking for me. He was always looking for you. The bond you built with that dog, I've never seen anything like it. When he broke his chain and ran to that cargo plane, none of us could stop him. He just knew. He always knows. Drake was quiet for a moment. I'm shipping home next month. I wanted to ask, would it be okay if I visited? I'd like to see him. Say goodbye properly. Reagan looked at Titan. The dog had woken ears perked, as if he recognized Drake's voice through the phone. He'd like that. I'd like that too. Thank you, Miss Cole. And thank you for what you did. Exposing Cerberus, getting justice for your mother. You did what most people only dream about. I had help. The best kind of help. Drake paused. Take care of him, okay? He deserves the world. I know. I'll give it to him. The call ended. Reagan set down the phone, looked at Titan. You made friends over there, huh? Titan's tail wagged. Good boy. She reached down, scratched his ears. The dog closed his eyes in contentment. Outside, the sun was setting. Golden light spilled through the window painting, everything warm. Reagan thought about the months ahead. Recovery. Testimony. Building a task force. Hunting down 400 dogs scattered across the globe. It seemed impossible. But so did flying across the Pacific in a cargo hold. So did surviving torture and betrayal. So did bringing down an admiral and exposing a 15-year conspiracy. Impossible was just a word. Warriors didn't believe in impossible. Reagan smiled, felt something settle in her chest. Peace. Purpose. We've got work to do, boy, she said. Lots of work. Titan lifted his head, met her eyes, ready for whatever came next. always ready. That was the thing about dogs. They didn't care about odds or obstacles or impossibility. They cared about their person. They cared about the mission. And they never, ever quit. Reagan closed her eyes. When she opened them again, she would be one day closer to walking. One day closer to fighting. One day closer to bringing every lost dog home. The sun disappeared below the horizon. And somewhere, in the gathering darkness, 400 dogs waited. Reagan would find them. All of them. No matter how long it took. 6 months after the night that changed everything, Reagan Cole walked into the United States Senate. Her ribs still ached when she breathed too deeply. Her left shoulder would never rotate quite right again. But she walked tall, steady, wearing her dress uniform for the first time since her commissioning ceremony. Titan padded beside her. Officially designated as her service animal. Unofficially, the most famous military dog in America. The Senate Armed Services Committee hearing room was packed. Senators, aides, journalists, cameras, everyone watching, everyone waiting. Reagan took her seat at the witness table. Titan lay at her feet. Senator Margaret Williams, chair of the committee, leaned into her microphone. Ms. Cole, thank you for being here today. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge the extraordinary courage you've demonstrated. Your actions exposed one of the most significant corruption scandals in military history. Thank you, Senator. But I'm not here for acknowledgement. I'm here for accountability. A murmur rippled through the chamber. Williams nodded slowly. Then let's proceed. In your own words, please tell this committee what happened. Reagan spoke for 3 hours. She told them about her mother, about the journal and the USB drive, about Whisper's murder and her capture at the warehouse, about Cross and Rains and the dogs sold to enemies. She told them about Titan. This dog, Reagan said, her voice cracking for the first time, flew 7,000 miles in a cargo hold, broke his chain, ran halfway across San Diego, found me in a warehouse where I was about to be executed. She paused. He didn't do it because he was ordered to. He did it because that's what the bond means. That's what we train these animals to be: loyal beyond reason, brave beyond comprehension. And then we sold them to cartels. We sold them to warlords. We treated their loyalty like a commodity. Silence in the chamber. Senator Williams removed her glasses. Her eyes glistened. Miss Cole, what do you believe this committee should do in response to these revelations? Reagan leaned forward. 423 military working dogs were illegally sold through Cerberus. Some have been recovered. Most haven't. These animals served our country. They detected bombs. They saved lives. They trusted us. Her voice hardened. We owe them a rescue. Every single one. And Admiral Cross Lieutenant Commander Rains. The others involved. Prison, for life. They're not just corrupt, they're traitors. They sold American assets to our enemies. They murdered my mother to cover it up. They tried to murder me. Reagan's jaw tightened. Justice isn't optional. It's the minimum. The hearing lasted another 2 hours. Questions about evidence, procedures, recommendations. Reagan answered everything. Direct, unflinching, unafraid. When it finally ended, the chamber erupted in applause. Reagan didn't acknowledge it. She gathered her papers, clipped Titan's leash, and walked out. Harrington waited in the hallway. Hell of a performance, he said. It wasn't a performance. I know. That's what made it effective. He fell into step beside her. The preliminary vote is tomorrow. They're expected to approve everything: expanded oversight, criminal referrals, full funding for Operation Recovery. Good. Chen wants to see you. She's waiting at the Pentagon. Reagan sighed. Can it wait? I need to. She said it's urgent. Something about your mother. Reagan stopped walking. What about my mother? Harrington's expression shifted. Something she couldn't read. You should hear it from her. Deputy Secretary Chen's office was smaller than Reagan expected. Functional. A few photographs on the walls. A view of the Potomac River. Chen stood when Reagan entered. Titan positioned himself by the door. Miss Cole, thank you for coming. Harrington said this was about my mother. Chen gestured to a chair. Reagan sat. Her ribs protested. I've been working with the Pentagon's awards board, Chen said, settling behind her desk. Reviewing your mother's case, the evidence you uncovered, her service record. And Chen slid a folder across the desk. Open it. Reagan opened the folder. Inside an official document. Gold seal. Presidential signature. She read the first line and stopped breathing. Medal of Honor, she whispered. Posthumous. For extraordinary heroism in exposing corruption at extreme personal risk. The president will present it at a ceremony next month. Chen paused. There's more. Reagan couldn't look away from the document. Her mother's name. Medal of Honor, the highest military decoration. What else? Purple Heart, Navy Cross, full military honors. Chen's voice softened. Your mother died, a hero, Reagan. The country is finally going to acknowledge it. Tears streamed down Reagan's face. She didn't try to stop them. 5 years. 5 years of her mother being listed as a combat casualty. A random death in a random desert. No acknowledgement. No honor. No truth. Now everyone would know. There's one more thing, Chen said. She stood, walked to a cabinet, retrieved a small wooden box. This was found in your mother's personal effects. It was classified buried with the Cerberus files. I had it recovered. She placed the box in Reagan's hands. Reagan opened it, a letter, handwritten, and beneath it dog tags, her mother's dog tags. Reagan's hands trembled as she unfolded the letter. My dearest Reagan, if you're reading this, I didn't make it home. I'm sorry. I wanted to watch you grow up, watch you become the woman I know you'll be. But some fights are more important than coming home. I found something terrible. Something that betrays everything we stand for. I have to expose it, even knowing it might cost me everything. That's what honor means, doing what's right, even when it's dangerous. Especially when it's dangerous. I hope you'll understand someday. I hope you won't hate me for leaving you, but more than anything, I hope you'll remember this: the bond between handler and dog is the purest thing in the world. It's loyalty without conditions, love without limits, trust without doubt. Find that bond, Reagan, with a dog, with a person, with your country. Find something worth fighting for and never let go. I love you more than words can express. I'm proud of you already, even though you're only 15 and think I don't understand anything. You're going to do extraordinary things. I know it. Always, Mom. Reagan read the letter 3 times, then held it against her chest. Chen waited in silence. Finally, Reagan looked up. She knew. She wrote this before her last deployment. She knew the risks. She went anyway. Because that's what warriors do. Chen nodded. The ceremony is scheduled for June 15th. The President Joint Chief's full military honors. You'll accept on her behalf. Reagan wiped her eyes, looked at the dog tags in her palm, her mother's name stamped in metal, carried through war, lost in lies, found again. I'll be there. The ceremony took place on a perfect June morning. Reagan stood at attention in her dress whites. Titan sat beside her coat, brushed until it gleamed. Behind them, 500 guests filled the White House rose garden. Harrington was there. Elena. The 6 operators who'd saved her life. Agent Okonkwo. Marcus Drake flown in from his new assignment. The president approached the podium. Today we correct a historic wrong. 5 years ago, Chief Petty Officer Evelyn Cole was murdered for trying to expose corruption within our military. Her sacrifice was covered up. Her honor was denied. Her daughter was left with lies instead of truth. The president paused, met Reagan's eyes. Reagan Cole refused to accept those lies. At 20 years old, she did what no one else could or would. She uncovered the conspiracy. She brought down the criminals. She nearly died in the process. The president's voice strengthened. And today we honor both of them. Mother and daughter. Warriors. Heroes. The Medal of Honor presentation was brief, formal, exactly as regulations specified. But when the ribbon settled around Reagan's neck, her mother's medal earned in blood and truth, something shifted in her chest. Completion. Closure. Peace. After the ceremony, Reagan stood alone at the edge of the rose garden. Titan pressed against her leg. The guests mingled behind her. Champagne and small talk. The rituals of official Washington. Reagan didn't care about any of it. She held her mother's medal, felt its weight, thought about everything it represented. She would have hated this. Reagan turned. A woman approached. Late 60s silver hair, familiar gray eyes. Excuse me. Your mother, Evelyn. She would have hated all this fuss. The woman smiled. I'm Margaret Cole, your grandmother. Reagan's heart stopped. I didn't know you were... Still alive, I am barely. Your mother and I, we were estranged. Long story. Old wounds. Margaret's eyes glistened. I followed your case, watched your testimony, saw the video of you confronting Cross. She took Reagan's hands. I was wrong to stay away. Wrong to let anger separate me from my daughter, from you. Reagan didn't know what to say. A grandmother she'd never known, standing in front of her, reaching across years of silence. She never mentioned you, Reagan said carefully. I know. That's my fault. I disapproved of her career, thought the military was no place for a woman. I was wrong about that too. Margaret squeezed Reagan's hands. But I'm here now, if you'll have me. Reagan studied her grandmother's face, saw her mother there, the same stubborn jaw, the same fierce eyes. I'd like that. Margaret pulled her into a hug, tight, desperate, the embrace of someone who'd lost too much time. Reagan hugged back, another piece of her family, found in the wreckage of everything. 3 months later, Reagan took command of Operation Recovery. Her office was small, a converted storage room at the Pentagon, but it was hers. On the wall, her mother's Medal of Honor, the photo from Bakersfield where Titan was born, a map of the world with pins marking recovered dogs. 47 pins so far, 376 to go. Titan lay in the corner, officially retired, but still showing up for work every day. Gray around the muzzle now. Slower than before, but still watching, still protecting. A knock at the door. Enter. Elena walked in. Behind her a young woman, 19, maybe 20. Dark hair, nervous eyes, military bearing. Commander Cole, this is Private First Class Maya Torres. She's been assigned to your team. Reagan stood, extended her hand. Private Torres, welcome to recovery. Maya shook her hand. Firm grip, good eye contact, Ma'am, thank you for this opportunity. I've studied your work, your mother's work, what you did to expose Cerberus. She paused. My brother was a canine handler, killed in Afghanistan. His dog Ranger saved 3 Marines before the IED got them both. Reagan's expression softened. I'm sorry. I joined because of Ranger, because of what happened to him, because I want to make sure dogs like him are never betrayed again. Maya's voice hardened. When I heard about your operation, I knew I had to be part of it. Reagan studied the young woman. Saw herself, 5 years ago, standing in front of Harrington, desperate to prove she belonged. What makes you qualified for this work? I speak 3 languages. I have contacts in Central America from my father's import business, and I don't quit. Maya met Reagan's eyes. Ever? Reagan almost smiled. Welcome to the Team Torres. Report to operations at 0700 tomorrow. We have a lead on 12 dogs in Honduras. Maya's face lit up. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. She saluted and left. Elena lingered. She reminds me of someone. Yeah, me too. Think she's ready? Reagan looked at Titan. The old dog had raised his head, watching the door where Maya had disappeared. She's got the fire. We'll teach her the rest. Elena nodded. Just like someone taught you. Just like someone taught me. That evening, Reagan drove to the cemetery. Her mother's grave had been moved here after the exhumation Arlington National Cemetery, Section 60, among the heroes of the War on Terror. Reagan knelt before the headstone. Chief Petty Officer Evelyn Cole, 1975-2019. Medal of Honor. Mother Warrior Patriot. Her legacy lives through her daughter. Titan lay beside the grave, nose pressed against the marble. I got your letter, Mom, Reagan said quietly. The one you wrote before you left. I read it every night. Wind rustled through the trees. Somewhere a bird sang. I found the bond, just like you said, with Titan, with the team, with the mission. Reagan touched the headstone. And I'm going to bring them all home. Every dog they sold, every dog they betrayed. I promise. She sat in silence for a long moment, feeling her mother's presence, feeling peace. Grandmother came to the ceremony. We're talking now. She's good. Stubborn like you. But good. Reagan smiled through tears. She told me about when you were young, how you used to rescue stray dogs and hide them in your room, how you got in trouble for sneaking food to the neighbors' hungry puppies. Reagan laughed, wiped her eyes. I guess it was always in your blood, the need to protect them, the need to fight for the ones who couldn't fight for themselves. She stood, brushed grass from her knees. That's my blood too, your gift to me. Titan rose, pressed against her leg. Reagan looked at the rows of headstones stretching across the hills. Warriors. Heroes. Fathers and mothers and sons and daughters. I won't let you down, Mom. Any of you. She saluted her mother's grave, held it for 3 heartbeats, then turned and walked away. 1 year later, the final dog was recovered. His name was Zeus, Belgian Malinois, 9 years old. Sold to a warlord in Somalia. Rescued in a joint operation with British Special Forces. Reagan was there when the transport plane landed at Andrews Air Force Base. Zeus limped down the ramp, old, scarred, but alive. Reagan knelt, let the dog approach on his own terms. Zeus sniffed her hand, then pressed his head against her palm, just like Titan had so many years ago. Welcome home, boy, Reagan whispered. You're safe now. You're finally safe. Behind her, Maya Torres watched, tears streaming down her face. 423 dogs, Maya said. We got them all. Reagan stood, looked at her team, Elena. Maya, the dozen operators who'd worked tirelessly for 18 months. Every single one. Harrington stepped forward. Older now, grayer, but still standing. Your mother would be proud. I know. Reagan smiled. I finally know. That night, Reagan sat on her porch, Titan at her feet, stars scattered across the sky. Her phone buzzed. Text from Maya. Zeus is settling in at the sanctuary. Ate 3 bowls of food. Won't stop wagging his tail. Reagan replied, Good. He's earned it. She set down the phone, looked at Titan. The old dog was watching her. Same intelligent eyes. Same unwavering loyalty. We did it, boy. We actually did it. Titan's tail thumped against the porch. 423 dogs. All home. All safe. Reagan scratched behind his ears. Couldn't have done it without you. Titan leaned into her touch. Content. Complete. Reagan thought about everything that had led to this moment. Her mother's murder, the cover-up, the conspiracy, the night in the warehouse when she'd thought she was going to die. And Titan. Always Titan. He'd crossed an ocean for her, broken chains and defied distance and done the impossible because that's what love demanded. She'd spent the last 2 years trying to be worthy of that love. Maybe she finally was. You know what Mom told me once, Reagan said softly. She said dogs don't just teach us loyalty. They teach us to be human, the best parts of human, the parts we forget when we're busy being afraid or angry or selfish. Titan's ears perked. You taught me that. You and Mom. You taught me that love doesn't have limits. That courage isn't about not being scared. It's about being scared and fighting anyway. That family isn't about blood. It's about who stands beside you when everything falls apart. Reagan looked at the stars, thought of her mother, thought of all the dogs now safe because she'd refused to quit. I'm 22 years old, she said. I've fought corruption, taken down admirals, testified before the Senate, and led an international rescue operation. And you know what I've learned. Titan tilted his head. The bond is everything, not just between handlers and dogs, between all of us. The bonds we build, the loyalty we show, the love we give, without expecting anything back, that's what saves us. That's what makes life worth fighting for. She stood, stretched, felt her old injuries ache in the evening chill. Come on, boy. Time for bed. Titan rose slowly, walked beside her into the house. Reagan paused at the door, looked back at the stars one more time. Somewhere up there, her mother was watching, proud, at peace. Somewhere out there, 423 dogs were sleeping safe tonight. And right here, right now, Reagan Cole knew exactly who she was and what she was meant to do. She was a warrior, a leader, a guardian of the ones who couldn't protect themselves. She was her mother's daughter, and she would never ever quit. Reagan smiled, walked inside, closed the door on the darkness. Tomorrow there would be new missions, new dogs to save, new battles to fight. But tonight there was peace. Tonight there was victory. Tonight a girl and her dog had changed the world. And that was enough. That would always be enough.